Good morning to you all. I thought I'd put another video up. Bit disappointed with this video actually. You see we've got two which look like 706s from BT or the GPO, but no, this isn't. These are phones from Portugal. They're obviously based on the 706. The casing is identical. You've got a little carrying handle there, which I don't think was put on BT phones, but it's all the exactly the same as the 706. The handset, this one shows I believe they call that a pepper pot type. The handset is also identical. We've got two phones. Both these were, well, the cases are excellent condition. You can't fail the cases, but unfortunately both these telephones have faults, and they're not simple faults. They're ones which mean pulling bits of the circuit board off. So in my case, I'm just going to put the covers on, and these are two phones to include the collection, where it'd be nice to have actually been able to say, yeah, they work, but they don't. This one I got just a couple of weeks ago. It even shows the Portuguese dial. This was in fact from Portugal. The bell inside, which is not the same as the BT jobs, there's the single coil job, that was actually loose. The fixings, those two screws were completely missing, and I replaced those. The regulator, plus and minus, I think are blanked out in this case. There's the, as I say, the underside. No indication who these phones were made by, although the earlier 332 telephones supplied to Portugal and under the automatic electric Portugal AEP were from the British company ATE or ATM, which automatic electric, which I believe was a branch of the American company. The only difference being the name AEP and the dial. The dial they used was the automatic electric dial, which has a space between the finger stop and the 0. So that's where it varied from the 332 English version. The rest is virtually the same. Don't think they had a drawer, so that probably missing that. Anyhow, getting back to the 706 type, when I say type, the actual number, and I can show you. There's the diagram. It's telephone 7P type, or type 7P. That was the designation of this phone. Now, the diagram, which was in one of the cases, not on the other one, shows the circuit board, or where the regulator would be. There's a picture of the regulator. So these did have, or incorporated, a regulator, which was either fitted or not fitted. Now I can show you on this first one I had, the regulator part is in there. You've got your little not thermistors, they're more or less a ballast two tubes. I don't know if it's showing up very well. Put a bit of light on and see what we're doing. See, to tell the truth now. There's the green regulator, which consists of a group of diodes, and the little black piece there holds the two regulator tubes. They're really a ballast or a Beretta. And next to that, you've got the switch hook contacts. On the other side, you've got your Aztec anti-side tone coil, and this coil I think has gone short circuit because it ring trips. Whenever I had to it ring trips, which is a great pity because it'd been nice to have had one working. And I don't think it's due to the actual capacitor, which is that larger one, the square one. But as you can see, the whole makeup of this is very similar to the 746. So it looks like the 746 came out. This is the newer one with the like sloping or shaped front. And it was, in my opinion, completely cheap and nasty. As I say, I think that Aztec coil has gone short circuit. Without taking it out and fiddling about with it, I have tried changing. Well, I haven't changed the capacitor. I took it out and tested it, and it seemed to be perfectly okay. So it does appear that there is a fault on these. The only other phone which had this problem was those early ones I got of Autophone. And I had to get 3 of those, and the third one finally worked. And incidentally, where I've always not worried too much about putting the 3.3K resistor in the bell circuit, with this Autophone, I hadn't included it, and most of the power from the ringing was going to that and preventing the other phones from ringing. So yeah, there is a reason to use that. I managed to get away with it on most things. Anyhow, how I got away with this, I just disconnected the bell circuit. I didn't need that bell on as well. Let's face it, I haven't got phones in it. Well, perhaps I have got them in every room. No, no, certain rooms I haven't got them in. I've got one in the loo, in the kitchen on the wall. The front room, that's got the Autophone. In the hall, we've got the ATM 706 clone, which is a very well-made phone actually, with the loudspeaking or the variable level hearing handset. Excellent. So the fact these two phones don't seem to work properly, they both ring trip. I'll show you a little difference as well. I showed this one with the regulator. Now I'll show you the later one without the regulator. So these were obviously made with or without the regulator, and as the diagram shows, I'm lucky to get the diagram because on this one there's no diagram. I'm assuming this case was off of this phone because the English cases will also fit, but I know this one that I'm looking at now genuinely came from Portugal. That more or less is all I can say. The dial is our type of dial, identical. and I would say the dial was probably made in UK. The components are, as I say, slightly different. I think I find it's wired up to the normal wiring, although this one I've just received have some straps which are wired in, those green straps. I think they're actually wrong, those, so I might quickly change those just before assuming the little switch there, which is a micro switch, operates when you put the receiver on. If you operate it so far, you've got speech, or you can hear yourself in the handset. Let it come up, it goes. So yeah, there's a fault. So it's a great pity actually, because you've got two examples of how the 706 was obviously used by other countries. I've shown the one from Israel. It's just interesting. It's also a good addition to the collection, along with the other clones of this 706. I suppose originally these phones were quite good, but my comments on these two, I'm tempted to use the word crap. They've been cheapened to such an extent, they're faulty and can't be reliable. It's a great pity. Everything looks like it has been cheapened. The bell has been cheapened, single coil. Your regulator is not on that little plug-in PCB. It's either wired straight to the circuit board or not in this case. But apart from that, the phone hopefully should work, but it doesn't. So both phones will be put in the collection with the proviso that if ever I get a chance to replace the dodgy part or learn more about it, I would. But it's not the end of the world, and it has added 2 Portuguese phones, our 706 type, to the collection. And incidentally, I first encountered this phone in Portugal some years ago when I visited, I think it was Porto. So there's a lot of firms down there which deal with port. I think Sandyman's ports are down there, if I remember rightly. Not that I'm a port drinker, I don't touch spirits. But it was very interesting because they got a very interesting tramway system. In fact, the two systems, they're very interesting. I'm trying to think the other place I went to. I should remember, it was big enough. But, as I say, my memory's not that good at the moment. So there we are. So Portugal, yep, these phones from Portugal. And I did in fact see one of these in use in a shop, 706. And I thought at the time, oh, that's a 706. That's interesting. I wonder if they would miss it. But obviously I didn't take it, so it was probably wired in, not on a plug. So anyway, that's all, more or less all I've got to say. So any comments please make. I've been rather busy at late and been cold, so you know, it's warmed up slightly outside, but it's still not what I call nice and warm. So there's the 2 phones. Any comments please make. But if, as I say, you get a chance of getting one of these, the chances are it might not work. I bought numerous 706 types and clones which have worked perfectly using the older type circuitry, but on these they're an education built down to a price, I would say. Definitely built down to a price. And well, not the most well-made job, I would say. Anyhow, thanks for hearing me out, and I hope I haven't driven you all to sleep. I'll put this up on YouTube. And once again, thank the two sellers who sold me these. As I say, I'm not holding them responsible. They wouldn't know. Most of these phones, I believe, are just sort of sold through the trade. So the owners don't necessarily know that they're working or not working. It's up to us poor collectors to sort of think, oh, are they going to work? Although the Portuguese one with the missing two screws to hold the bell in, I should have realised that, because the picture of it on eBay showed the two screws missing. But not to worry, I was able to replace them. Anyhow, I'm going to shut up now. And once again, thanks for watching. Thank you.